Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. This is Force with some more Hearthstone. Today we'll be taking a look at Sinex's Watcher Druid deck. He used this during IEM. It is a very flexible control Druid build. We've got some early game controls such as the Ancient Watcher plus Sunfury Protector combo, along with spells like Wrath and Swipe, all of this used to prolong the game and push into your late game beat drops like the Cairne Bloodhoof and Ragnaros. Now with the general premise out of the way, let's take a look at the deck in action. So once you've seen one control Druid deck, you've pretty much seen them all, but this is a new build for the current metagame. Again, the idea is to stall into the late game in which you've got a big advantage with some card draw, some life gain, some big old taunts, and then just some beefy creatures. We are playing against a Warlock, and because it could be an aggro Warlock, I'm actually going to dump these two cards. I'll be hoping to pick up, I don't know, potentially a Wrath. We don't end up getting that, but we do actually get the Ancient Watcher Sunfury Protector combo, which isn't too bad in and of itself. So in the current metagame, there appears to be a lot of Rushdown and Zoo aggro decks, and this deck does particularly well against those. In fact, this deck all around does fairly well. I would say this variation of a Druid deck can sometimes have a harder time against other control decks that are just focused less focused on stalling the early game and more focused on the mid and late game. You can run into some difficulty against those, but especially against a lot of the aggro rushdown decks, this deck should perform fairly effectively. Now it looks like we actually saw no turn one play from the opponent, which is a little bit of a cause for concern. I'm definitely hoping that he's playing an aggro as opposed to a handlock style. Handlock can be a little bit of a tougher matchup. You can look to swap in things like Big Game Hunter, which would make this deck better in that matchup, but it does in fact look like we are playing against a handlock deck. So we're going to go ahead and get our taunt in play, and this is going to be a very interesting matchup. When you're playing against handlock, you do need to be careful in playing around with their life total. Try not to get them too low, but low enough so that you can rush them down in one turn. We've got some things that could potentially allow us to do that. We've got some charge creatures with, of course, Druid of the Claw. The deck is also running the Argent Commander, and then we've got that great combo of Force of Nature and Savage Roar. So those are all things we could use in conjunction to try to Zerg him down. Now when it comes to this this portion of the game, we can poke away at his health, but it's basically, we want to be careful when we get him around 15 health so that he can't just drop his huge giants, throw those taunts in play, and then we have to deal with it. Although we can deal with those taunts, so yeah, this should be a very interesting game. Now we have one portion of the Force Roar combo. Unfortunately though, that is it. There is only one of each of these cards in the deck. It's one Force of Nature, one Savage Roar. So, you know, we've got now a 1 in 23 chance of getting the second half of that combo. It's, you know, it's a toss-up. It's in the air. There's no doubt about that. But yeah, at this point, we are 100% certain we are playing against a handlock. So we're gonna have to play accordingly. Okay, so for right now, I think we're actually gonna throw this guy with taunt in play. And won't be using our Innervate until there's a situation where I feel like I absolutely positively need it, which is not the current situation. Alright, so he does have the Earthen Farseer right now, which he can use to attack into our Druid of the Claw. And he could actually take it out. You know, come to think of it, I may have wanted to play him with Charge, so that way he would have been protected from the Earthen Farseer. Alright, there's a Shadow Flame popping off a bunch of damage, and now he's going to be able to easily attack into this, plus a Mortal Coil. So there we go, he clears my board. And he does have a bit of a hand advantage right now. I'm at least assuming he's going to attack into this. Yeah, there you go. Does have a bit of a hand advantage now as well, so this is rather interesting. Black Knight could come into great effect in this matchup. This is going to be a long game either way, so hold on to your butts, basically. I guess an advantage that we have is we're going to be consistently over-gaining health, technically, with that shield. We don't want to play that because I would like to use the silence or damage on some of his upcoming creatures. There's really nothing we want to do right now, and unfortunately the Black Knight, we're not going to play him until he gets a big taunt in play, which likely what we'll see is a huge giant come into play, and then he, you know, once his life total gets to that point, he can drop a huge giant for free, and then he will go ahead and give it taunt with the Sunfury Protector, Defender of Argus, what have you. But yeah, let's just keep gaining up that extra above 30 health, poke away, and then we just take care. Oh gosh, now he's dumping cards even. His hand's too full. Alright. So I wonder if he's running Mountain Giant. He probably would have played it last turn. If he, well, no, actually he had other stuff. So I wonder if we're going to see Mountain Giants. He can definitely get that in play if he has it right now. I know he's just gonna drain life that, and then I wonder if he's also sitting on a Mortal Coil. Okay, there's a Mortal Coil. So that brings back the second iteration. Now he doesn't have another Mortal Coil because he's already used both of them. So this guy should stay alive. Unless he like Hellfires or something crazy like that. Which, you know, I guess it wouldn't be the most absurd thing, but this is actually very interesting. And he is going especially low in health as well. I'm sorry, well he's got less health than me, but he's going especially low in his deck count. You can see he's got 5 less cards there, so I don't know. This is going to be, no matter what happens, this is going to be a very, very interesting game. And I'm just going to keep my cards close to my chest. There's no reason for me to overextend and throw things down before I absolutely need them. And again, I need that silence potentially for his upcoming creatures. I'm definitely going to need that because I'm expecting, I know what to expect basically. So, and the Sunfury Protector would be kind of useless to play it on a 2-1. So, still sort of nothing doing. Now, this is rather interesting. I honestly didn't expect this to happen. I have been running up against so many of those rushdown aggro style decks, even just the mid-range decks, and many less control decks. Alright, so there's the Mountain Giant. Looks like he finally did draw into it. So he's got that 8/8 in play. The question becomes, does he give a taunt right now with which we'd be able to get rid of it with the Black Knight? If not, we have other ways of getting rid of it. We can go swipe Wrath and attack into it. Could also play the Keeper to 2 damage, so I could go swipe, Keeper, attack into it for 2, and save the Wrath, but then I end up losing the Silence, so I might not want to do that. Alright, he decides not to give it Taunt. So I can swipe for 5. If I play this, I can swipe for 5, and then, ooh, you know, I could do that and still have my creature in play with my Innervate, so that's what we're going to do. I am going to swipe for 5. Okay. And then we will Innervate. And I will go with 4 damage to his minion. This is going to keep my creature alive. I don't get the advantage of the card draw, but this may be a game where one of us runs out of cards in the deck anyways. So, given how prolonged this particular matchup is here. So he still can't really get an effective giant and then follow it up with something. Well, the Mountain Giant, yes, but I meant the Molten Giant. His health isn't quite low enough to effectively play those, you know, the best situation is play him for free and then give them taunt. I think when he's really contemplating after these Mountain Giants come into play, I really think that he's considering whether or not he should give them taunt for fear of the Black Knight. I really think that that's his dilemma in these situations. So there's a Soulfire, ends up losing a Siphon Soul. Pretty big for me, actually. Because losing that target creature removal is going to help me immensely. Alright. So we could get rid of that. And I think we will. I could Savage Roar, but I kind of want to save that for another point in the game. Well, actually, let's see. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. We could do 12 damage to him. I'm gonna play this. Draw the 2 cards. Okay. And then I'm gonna go like this. And give both my creatures taunt. And we're gonna hit him, bringing him down to 15. Alright, so with the Savage Roar, this puts us again in a very interesting position. If we can get a couple of cards in play. Unfortunately, we still don't have that Force of Nature, which is definitely what I was hoping to draw into with those 2 card draws. So now he's got a second giant in play for 5, because he's down to 15, so we can play that for 5. So does he get Defender of Argus? Does he drop Defender of Argus right now? That's a big question. And we've eliminated a couple of his giants now. I mean, he's only got 1 left. He's got 1 more Molten Giant, and that's it. Alright, so there's the Defender of Argus. That's good for us, because we are going to Black Knight. None shall pass. And then he's got 7 health on that. So what I could do is I could do 2 damage and then kill it for 5. So I guess that's what we will do.
I must safeguard the land.
Okay. And then we will hit him for 2, bringing him down to 13. So this is a big turn. This could be like a deciding turn in the game, in fact. Now I do have this. This would help me immensely. He's lost one of his Siphon Souls. If he's running 2, then of course he will only have 1 more left. So let's see if he's got his last Molten Giant right now. That will have had him draw into all 4 giants in his 19 cards that he's had in this particular game. I'm really hoping that his last Molten Giant is in the deck and not in his hand. But, you know, there's no way for us to know that. But this could be a very big upcoming turn with an Argent Commander Savage Roar. We could, of course, secure the victory. We'll have to see if he throws down any big taunters, anything like that. Unfortunately, we did end up getting rid of our keeper, so... Alright, so there's a Hellfire. That gets rid of all but 1. That puts him down to 10. And can he kill this? He doesn't have Mortal Coil. There's a giant. Is he going to give a taunt? Looks like he is. Okay, so that's his last giant, though. He does have taunt. Let's see here. Can kill that and still have our creature in play. This is going to be 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, I think we'll do that. We go like this. It's gonna give us 5, 6, 7, 8. We're gonna have this 5, 3 in play still. And then the 2, 3. He's down to 10. Now, Jaraxxus could come into effect here. He won't be able to do anything else for the turn, pretty much. But he will be up to 15. And he would be able to kill off this 5, 3 with the Jaraxxus 3-attack weapon. Which would leave me with just 1 creature in play. He would be down to 10 health. Alright, so there's a Twilight Drake. There's his last Siphon Soul, bringing him up to 13. Gosh, this is such an intense game. Although I'm feeling pretty good right now. It's a rather crazy game. Because I'm up to 29, and I don't necessarily need this taunt to like not die or anything, we're gonna throw these 2 guys in play. And we're gonna bring him down to 11. And again, with our Savage Roar trump card, he's lost his target removal. He's already used 1 Soulfire. He might have used 2. No, I think he's only used 1, but... There's Jaraxxus, okay. So he's gonna be able to get rid of 2 of my creatures. Well, this thing will come back, so he could like attack, that comes back, and then... Oh, what is he gonna do for 2? If he's just... Okay, that doesn't matter. So we don't quite win yet, but... Feeling pretty confident still. Okay, so he's gonna do that. Ah, yes. Very nice play, very nice play. Alright, so I'm gonna go... like this. Yeah, we're gonna go like this with the taunt. And then I will get rid of his 4/1. So he doesn't quite have enough to get past this yet. He is now down to 9. At 5/10, he's got 6, 7, 8, 9. So in play, not enough to kill this. This thing's still coming back, even if he does manage to get rid of it. He's at 9. Get the +2 attack on those guys. Yeah. Oh, there's Alexstrasza. Oh my gosh. What a back and forth this game has been, huh? God. Alright. So he's not going to be able to kill this off this turn. And he is just going to ignore it. Oh, there we go. That's 5, 10, 5. Yeah, that's the win. Alright. Give this charge. Savage Roar. A much longer game than I anticipated. But that was a really good matchup. And a good showing of this deck. Let's go ahead and take a look at the deck list. Well played, sir. Well, it was a much longer deck spotlight than I anticipated. I'm actually glad we played the type of opponent that we did, because a handlock can be a tough matchup. It was extended. We still pulled out the victory, though. And keep in mind, that's a control deck. We ended up winning. This deck also does very, very well against those aggro, zoo, rushdown decks. And so overall, this is just a well-rounded deck. So let's take a look at Sinex's Watcher Druid, the one that you use during IEM. Starting off, we've got 2 Innervates. You have an opening hand Innervate, and if you're sitting on any 4+ creature, it could be a good hand to keep. You know, getting a turn 2 Innervated Chillwind Yeti can be rather devastating for a lot of opponents. We've got the Wrath for early game removal and control. Ancient Watcher plus Sunfury Protector. Ancient Watcher also working well with the single Defender of Argus. So we've got 2 of the Watchers and Protectors. 1 Savage Roar used in conjunction for some wombo combo damage with Force of Nature on turn 9, but also just Savage Roar with your creatures in play, like we saw last game, can provide that lethal blow. Earthen Ring Farseer, this is for some life gain, not only to protect yourself, pull you out of Pyroblast death range from a mage or something like that, or rush down death range from an opponent, but also protect your valuable creatures that take damage that you want to survive for an extra turn. You know, trade a creature with a Chillwind Yeti, and then if he's got 1 or 2 health left, you can heal him back up with Earthen Ring Farseer, taking him out of small ping damage range. Harvest Golem, because it's a value early game creature, and obviously also works well with that Sunfury Protector and Defender of Argus. The Swipe for early game removal, same with that Wrath. Chillwind Yeti, just value. It's a nice 4/5. Defender of Argus, again for pumping up your creatures, getting taunts and protection. Keeper of the Grove, primarily used for silence and or spot removal, pushing through extra 2 damage on creatures with lots of health, for example. The Azure Drake, you know, the spell damage can work very well with Swipe and Wrath, and that card draw plus a 4/4 body. Druid of the Claw, is there really any control Druid deck that doesn't have this? I don't think so. Force of Nature, again, used with Savage Roar. And then we've just got some nice late game creatures. Argent Commander, used for some burst damage. Cairne Bloodhoof, value. Black Knight, against any opposing control decks with taunt. Ancient of Lore, and then a single Ancient of War. Ancient of Lore, super value. Ancient of War, you don't always see this in these decks, but now the Tankmaster is basically obsolete. This is a good play to have once more. Same thing with the Ragnaros the Firelord. Again, now that Tankmaster isn't used to take out these high value creatures because he's not reliable, you should expect to see a resurgence of cards like Rag. That's going to do it, guys. Thanks so much for watching this spotlight of Sinex's Watcher Druid deck. Stay tuned for a follow-up gameplay video that should be coming up tomorrow, in which we'll play a few games with the deck and see how it does. Thanks again, guys. If you like the content, please subscribe, keep watching, and keep owning.